All right, welcome back, everybody. Good night to you. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you tuned in. Hope everything's going well for you. So, I'm Noah. So this side of me is Alex. To that side of me is Trey, and we're going to get into some of our hot takes that we might have regarding either players in the draft, certain situations in the draft, or maybe some hot takes about the Falcons, what they can plan to do, or just simple things like that. We're not going to try to go so serious into this kind of stuff. Obviously, if you know that this is an unpopular opinion, this is a freezing cold take, or however you want to call it, it's right now it's just all in good fun. All right, we're just having a discussion and just throwing some things out there. We're not really believing anything that we say. We're not forcing any values upon anything. But the point of this is that I want to try to have some more people go from a reactionary standpoint to more of an explanatory standpoint, which means instead of just reacting to things, let's think it through. Let's really talk about this and see why this is considered a bad take or a good take or a hot take or unpopular opinion, whatever the case may be, right? So let's try to get into some of that. But before we start that, there was something else that just came across my Steam before we really started this. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but just in case I'm going to leave it somewhat unanimous, I saw a quote from a player, a quarterback. And he had this to say on if the quarterback, the team that he is a part of, what's going to happen to him if he goes to the quarterback. So this was the quote, right? I'm going to read it. He says, "It truly is whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, it's out of my control. I know I'm going to be a quarterback. I know I can be a good quarterback. I proved it. And I know this team can happen as you want me." Can you guess who said this?
Baker Mayfield.
Alex?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Final answer is Sam Darnold.
Huh?
Honestly, that makes sense.
Well, actually, no. At least I got it right on the bus quarterback.
He's proved it? Okay, now let's go back, right? I know I'm a good quarterback. I know I can be a good quarterback in this league. I proved it. What
You haven't had a season over 6 wins in your entire career. You
won 2 games after mistakenly going 3-0 to start the season last year. And you had help.
Yeah, one of the top defenses in the league. And other than your coach, which was a complete... Actually, wait, because I'll give Matt Rule credit. He did get the offense together. But the offensive coordinator wasn't all that. But still, you could have... you had DJ Moore. You had Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall
for about 25% of the season. Ian Thomas started to kind of break out last year. They traded away the second best tight end.
Chuba Hubbard
kind of he did his thing last year.
And it's Baker would have made sense because he has proved something. He won a playoff game at least. What the heck is Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold's never sniffed a playoff hunt in his entire career. More than less playoffs. He's... All right, so let's get this straight. So, Sam Darnold, your first year starting, full year, you went, 4-12 or 3-13, something like that. 2019 comes, he goes 6-10. 2020 comes, you nearly go 0-16. 2021 comes, you're traded to the Panthers. You start off
for a lot of draft capital, by the way.
With premium draft, and I mean top tier guys type draft capital. And you start the season off 3-0. You go to lose 7
And-
straight games.
Before we even go any further than that, week 1's opponent was against the Jets, his former team. His week 2 opponent was against that swamp team over there. Thank you for that, by the way. And then that third team was against the Texans.
All 3 of those teams didn't make the playoffs.
So I repeat, what did you prove, Darnold?
I mean, so let's see. You started off 3-0. At the next 14 games, you went 2-12. 2-12. You scored 20 plus points in only 3 of those 14 games. You went against teams that have top 5 picks right now and nearly got shut out. You went against a struggling Giants team that had Mike Glennon starting at quarterback, and you lost. At least we faced Daniel Jones, okay? You had a top 5 defense on the other side of you. You had arguably a top 5 wide receiver duo. At least in the games that McCaffrey was in, you had him, and you barely even gave him the ball. And your offensive line, other than your left guard and right tackle, were decent. And you won 5 games with that. Matt Ryan won 7 with less. Way less. With also a new coaching staff.
Yeah, they're gonna need to.
You were also beaten Census in the last week of the season, 41-17 by the Bucs, and they rested some of their players, mainly on defense, and without Chris Godwin. And you got 41 put on you. You also blew a 17-point lead in that game too. But you've proved you're a good quarterback.
Again, what a fitting way to start off a stream about hot takes than for him to say that before we start.
What? Who's your dealer? What do you take to say you've proven to be a not just he said a good quarterback. A good quarterback is Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield,
Kirk Cousins.
You're not even in the atmosphere of that. You're in the Mike Glennons, the Trevor Lawrence rookie year. Hopefully he
the PJ Walkers, who he got benched
the PJ
for.
Walkers, the Tim Tebows. That's where you're standing at right now.
The current Cam Newtons.
Yeah, the current Cam Newtons. You're at least respect your other peers when you say good. That's the least you could do for them.
Question of the night, Nathan Floyd.
Where did he prove it? That the one good pass he had against us, the one play he got smacked by Deion Jones. What did you prove? You're a turnover machine. You literally said this, that you see ghost. You see ghost? Are you serious? When you're about to throw the football in a National Football League game, you're telling me you see ghost?
You mean to tell me that Mark Sanchez, Mr. Butt Fumble himself, looked better in a Jets uniform than he did?
At least he won him a playoff game.
He went to back-to-back AFC Championship games.
Yeah.
And contributed to getting dang near both of them.
And I understand you had Adam Gase as your head coach. But then again, I've never
if you're a good quarterback, shouldn't you just let that be on the field.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've never heard a quarterback say they've seen ghosts.
Yeah,
during
a
a
bad
football
coach
game.
doesn't force you to have accuracy issues. It doesn't force you to have like
Turnover issues.
field vision issues. It doesn't consistently make you think the wrong thing and do that. Okay, you have to learn at least some of the mistakes you've made.
Ryan Tannehill did it. Adam Gase was his head coach. Now look at him now. 3 back-to-back playoff appearances. Sam Darnold, you went to another team. We were all rooting for you. I was rooting for you, man. I was like, man, Adam Gase ruined that kid. You know, he might do something special in Carolina, just not against us. You proved me terribly wrong. And I mean terribly
for
wrong.
the betterment of us.
I as a Falcon fan, when they were 3-0, I protected this man. I said, man, the Panthers may be back. We may have to be worried about the Panthers. When was the last time you could say that? We may have to be worried about the Panthers.
Well, the thing is, Panthers are probably one of the most inconsistent teams in NFL history.
You went from Super Bowl to 5-0. Let's just say that.
So it's kind of a tangent because it doesn't really pertain to our draft talk, but we got some good conversational pieces to have. Like I said, for those joining in, we're just going to be mentioning some statements that we've either heard or that we can throw out there and decide for ourselves. You know, like, hey, how unpopular of an opinion is this? How hot of a take is this? You know, and where do we lie in terms of our standpoint on something, right? So, since this was kind of my idea, I'm going to start off and say that, how do you guys feel about this? I'm not saying that we believe this stuff. Not saying that we're predicting this to happen. Just saying, hey, let's just throw a couple of things at the wall and hope they stick, right? All right. In round 1, 7 wide receivers get taken.
I can believe it.
Maybe bump that up to 8 then.
I mean, when you really think about that, how many teams in the first round desperately need a wide receiver? The Eagles, they have 2 first-round picks. Us, the Texans, the Lions, they have that second first-round pick.
You can't forget about the Packers and the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, the Packers and the Chiefs desperately. That's what is that? 7 right there.
Maybe the Patriots as a wild card.
Oh no, not wild card. They do need one, so that's 8 right there.
Maybe us.
Yeah, us. The Colts, but oh wait, no, they don't have a first round
pick.
Yeah,
they don't have a first round pick.
Let's see. The Titans, they don't have a number 2 wide receiver now that they cut Julio. I mean, that's 9-10 teams right there.
Possibly Tampa, because Brady needs more weapons.
We don't know what's gonna happen with Chris Godwin, because they did kind of do that. What was it? I think it was the Keyshawn Vaughn thing where they didn't know what was gonna happen with Ronald Jones, and now he's in Kansas City. Who else can I think of? The Saints. My God, I don't know how long I've been saying this, but the Saints need a wide receiver opposite of Michael Thomas. I mean,
I would
it's
say
not
they
going to
need
do
a wide
anything
receiver,
different.
even if you
He's still
include
going to
Michael
have Slant
Thomas.
Boy and somebody else, but the Raiders maybe.
But that I would say Chicago if they had a first round pick.
Yeah.
But they kind of used that on Justin Fields.
Retards. Let's see how that works out for them in the next 2 years. Uh, let's see who else. That's all I can really think of. So that's what
I mean,
13,
I guess it's not
12, 13
impossible that
teams in the first
Chicago.
round.
I guess it's not impossible that Chicago would trade up in the first round, but
I mean,
to
they
do
don't.
that, to take a wide receiver,
I mean, their second round pick is kind of high anyway.
yeah, I think it's before us.
Yeah, I think it's at like 40.
Baltimore.
Oh yeah, Baltimore definitely needs one.
I would agree if that was their offensive plan.
Oh yeah, well, true. Because I think the reason,
because they still have Rashad Bateman, they still have Hollywood Brown, they still have Mark Andrews. Every single one of their offensive linemen are like specifically good at run blocking first.
I mean, unless you're just going to switch the entire scheme up after 1 year.
I mean, heck, when Joe Flacco got injured or benched or whatever, Lamar's rookie season, they flipped up the offensive playbook for him.
True.
Kansas City, we did mention them. I mean, they got 2 picks, so they can double dip, and so does Green Bay.
Green Bay has 2 picks? Oh, yes,
the Raiders pick.
Yeah.
Denver?
I don't know about that.
Denver's got Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Tim Patrick. And then they're going to get KJ Hamler back from injury. The Browns, they're trying to get one from free agency. They have Amari Cooper. And then they have, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think Rashard Higgins left them.
Do they even have a first-round pick, though? Because I thought they traded that to the Texans.
That's right. So, Browns are off the list. I wasn't thinking Seahawks, but I was thinking like where the Seahawks were. Just to name a few more teams, kind of get off the list.
It talks about them trading DK too. So maybe we could put
the Giants also have receivers. Like they just got Kadarius Toney from the last year's draft class.
And Kenny Golladay.
Mr. 0 touchdown. So it's like they could get another receiver, but depending on who the quarterback is, it's not going to matter. Dallas, they got CeeDee Lamb.
Michael Gallup,
they signed back.
Jordan Schultz, Pollard,
Schultz, yeah.
They could wait till the second round because they got to fix that left tackle position. Remember, they lost Lil Collins. And I think where they pick at, maybe, what is that kid name? He had a Northwestern college. I keep forgetting that dude's name. Because we mentioned about drafting him a couple weeks ago.
Alex, you know what we're talking about?
Northwestern?
Yeah.
What position does he play again?
It's either guard or tackle. I mean, they need both anyway, so.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Is it Mike?
Jackson Kirkland? Or no?
Yeah, I think so.
Or no, Washington.
No, he's like third.
That's a different guy. That's a different guy.
Is it Mike Penny?
Detroit, they have 2 first-round picks. They got the second pick and then the last pick in the draft.
It's a big difference.
They could. So we're not leaving it out of the question. It's just they're definitely not going to get one with the second pick. It's just a matter of what they do with the 33rd or 32nd.
That's about 13 teams right there.
Yeah, and then if you kind of split them down the board, and like if you really go over the priorities,
our receivers probably at 1 or 2.
Okay, now let's think about the wide receivers that would be taken then. Okay, so not in any order, but Drake London would go, Garrett Wilson would go, Chris Olave would go. You have Jameson Williams would go.
Christian Watson probably.
Ooh, does he sneak into the first?
I mean, from what I've heard after after the combine and did he have his pro day yet?
I'm not sure if he had his pro day.
I'm pretty sure though. After the combine and the why am I all of a sudden just forgetting names? Senior Bowl. I heard his stock has been rising a little bit.
Yeah.
So he could be like a late first type guy.
I mean, that could be a hot take within a hot take right there.
Yeah.
Trey I've been hearing some things about Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
He can sneak in the late rounds. What do you think of David Bell going in round 1?
I don't know about that one. That would be like a complete reach on whoever drafts him.
I don't think so.
To be honest,
does
you
he
could get
sleep in
David
the
Bell
first
at
round then?
58.
Hmm?
You could
Pickens?
get David Bell at 58.
Pickens could probably. I maybe not. He might fall to still like near second, just because of his injury.
And his
also
maturity. I have heard some stuff about his maturity.
And from what I hear, I don't think he gets off the line that well. I don't watch too much tape from him.
Let's throw in Traylon Burks. Can't believe I forgot about him.
Oh yeah, I think he still
That's
goes
about
first.
what 6? 6 guys we can be sure about.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then it's like those last 2 extra spots. Those are the ones that make this an unpopular opinion.
I mean, really, we have seen guys like not DJ Moore, like how Calvin really slipped in the 2018 draft. That could happen with somebody here, and then that ends up putting an extra spot in those early picks or late picks.
And then you can just get a run of wide receivers go off the board if teams are starting to get scared about the top talent leaving them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's going to end up happening anyway because we see how the wide receivers have kind of moved around this year. Got Devontae Adams with the Raiders now, Tyreek with the Dolphins, and Juju with the Chiefs. I mean, just like a lot of top wide receivers moving around, so it kind of opens up a lot more number 1s and especially number 2s.
Right. Can't forget about those complementary pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Trey, you got one? You got a hot take in mind?
Okay. So I was gonna start with this one. Actually, yeah. No, I'm gonna start with this one. So I think in the top 10, I think Trayvon Walker goes 1, Aiden goes 2, and Kayvon doesn't get drafted in the top 10. Because something with all this, this is kind of turning out. I think Kayvon is starting to kind of turn into the Michael Parsons from last year, to where they're trying to tear down his character, but he's doing all of this good stuff like charity and all of that. And guys' stocks are kind of rising a little bit now. Micah didn't really have anyone competing with him as the top kind of edge rusher / linebacker, but Kayvon does. You have Trayvon and Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon, either one of them can go 1, 2, 3 straight up. I mean, that could happen, but I think with how Trayvon stock is rising, I think he ends up going 1. I think Aiden ends up going 2, and then somehow either we take Kayvon at 8, or he ends up slipping to like 11 or 12, and somebody trades up for him.
Okay. Ooh, all right. I'm gonna let it linger in my brain because you got the 2 picks of the Jets. especially that 10th play.
Yeah.
That one especially intrigues me because I've heard that they really like Sauce Gardner. And
I feel like they take
to
him
me,
at
I
4.
wouldn't be surprised if they tried to take him at 4.
I wouldn't be.
And then that last pick at the 10 spot, in order for this to work, they'd have to not go for him, but possibly
Wide receiver.
an offensive lineman then.
I mean, I've heard there guys like Olave and Wilson could go a lot higher than usual, so that could end up happening right there too. I think either if that does end up happening, like if Kayvon ends up slipping out the top 10, either the Jets went with a wide receiver, or they traded back.
And then the biggest part of this is, who would we take instead?
True, because when you put that up there, your choices are. All right, so let me fill out this top 10 right quick. So let's say this. Okay, Trayvon goes 1, Aiden goes 2 to the Lions. Let's say Kyle Hamilton goes 3 to the
you know what?
Texans.
That's starting to become a hot take again too.
You serious?
Because the draft stock is falling to Kyle Hamilton.
It is.
So for him to still continue to be a top 3 pick here,
it really is.
Right.
It's possible. Like it's possible that he's gonna fall to the second. It's actually possible. He has all the physical gifts that you want in a safety, like all of them. But he doesn't necessarily make plays within structure. And when you take a look at some film, like film against Cincinnati, that's one of his worst games where he gets looked off a ton, doesn't necessarily make plays or doesn't necessarily anticipate plays, but is like a broken play master. You get Patrick Mahomes in there, you looking for Tyreek Hill on a broken play, that's going to be picked off. And that's where you kind of see his value. Like, you got to move him all over the place. But right now, I don't think he's a full solidified, you play him anywhere, he'll kill everything type of safety right now.
So he went from being the next Ed Reed to probably being a second round pick in a month.
I think people, because like a lot of scouts don't necessarily do scouting until after the combine or near the combine. So it's possible that a lot of people just got like hyped over the highlights, because that's what a lot of people do. They'll look at highlights and say, "Oh yeah, that dude's different," or maybe they'll look at like a few games and then they'll be like, "Yeah, that dude's pretty good," and then make their decisions based off of that. Me personally, I make my decisions based off of competition because I just don't have time to always look through all the games. So I like to see versus certain positions how that person does against top tier competition. And I think that I like Kyle Hamilton's versatility, just him as a safety, like anticipation wise and technically wise. He's still got some ways to go.
I wanted to highlight this comment here by John Miner real quick, because he asked, if Matt got hit over 200 times, don't we need to look at O-line and move up for one of the 2 top O-linemen?
I'm glad he said that.
We could.
Yeah, it's a really good question. My thing is, if you want to go this route, who's your answer? Because all the offensive linemen that would be taken that high, are all like left tackles.
Actually,
we're straight at left tackle.
If he wanted, he could move to guard, right? But he's still a run blocker first, so that doesn't really help your protection issues.
Yeah.
And if you really
Charles Cross, he's a pass protector, but I like him more as a tackle. And we've already seen what would happen if we take one person from one position and either like have him go flip and mirror everything he does to the other side, becoming a right tackle, or move inside to become a guard. That's not the easy transition that you would want to go for. And then
Just-
with center, like Linderbaum, he would be the only option to take, but I don't know
Are
if
you
you would
really-
take him at 8 at this point.
Are you really
I-
like, to be honest, like ask yourself, are you really about to take a center at 8? Unless he's gonna end up being a Hall of Famer and your center for the next 15 to 20 years. Are you really about to spend that pick at 8?
You're going to spend you're going to spend that value on an offensive lineman that's even smaller than Matt Hennessy.
So I think where the rationale comes in is first of all, me personally, I'm not taking Tyler Linderbaum at 8, even though he's really good. Like some people have him compared to Jason Kelsey, and like some people have said that he's like the highest grade that they've given out to centers. I wouldn't take him at 8, probably late in the first round. But I do think there are some other alternatives if you wanted to consider offensive line, because I think that you can honestly go anywhere, just about anywhere in this at the 8th spot. Like if you wanted, you could go trade back maybe a little bit to get Kenyon Green, and just get you a player that can literally play just about almost everywhere except for like left tackle, I think.
Maybe
And
center,
that's fine.
because he doesn't have experience there.
I don't think he's played at center, but he can probably even play at center. Because he's played just about everywhere except for like left tackle. You can take you could take tackle in the second round and Rashid Walker, who personally, when I watched him against Michigan, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh, word?" Because like he was first of all, the guy from Ohio State, whose name is so long that I don't even want to try pronouncing it. He didn't do as good as I thought he would against David Ojabo, and Rashid Walker practically made Ojabo look not that great for the entire game, except for like a few moves. Because like David Ojabo pulled out like a nice spin move that like caught him, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." But for most of the game, he did pretty good against Ojabo, and he played Hutchinson, and that was kind of like it wasn't 50-50, but he sure got Hutch's number a few times, but Hutch kind of dominated. You can tell that, but it was more like 60-40. Like he put up some resistance. He got him on a few reps. And the thing that I like about him as opposed to Caleb McGarry is that he's good with his hands. You know he's good with his hands. Whereas with Caleb McGarry, he's more I can probably run down a nose tackle if you need me to. I can like push a nose tackle on his butt on a combo block. I'm really athletic. I can go up and reach a linebacker if you need me to. And I got all these physical tools in the run game. If you need me to do it, I'll do it. But with Rashid Walker, I know I'm getting pass protection. I know that for a fact. And I like a few guys in this draft class when it comes to the O-line. And even Charles Cross. Like one idea I was thinking of was playing Charles Cross at left tackle and switching Jake Matthews to right tackle, because I believe he's played all across the line, even at center, if I'm not mistaken. So Jake Matthews is a guy who can play anywhere. So getting a tackle wouldn't necessarily be the worst idea for us.
All right, so we got Trimmel inviting us, or joining us here. How's it going?
How you doing, man?
Yeah. So, on the topic of hot takes, you hop on.
It's Tramel. It's Tramel too, man. It's Tramel. It's not Trummel.
Sorry
It's
about that.
Tramel.
My mistake. Tramel. Okay, I'll remember that for next time.
For sure.
So, you got a hot take for us?
I'm just saying, who y'all think the Atlanta Falcons should draft in the first round? Who y'all think they should draft?
I'll be honest. I don't think it's
okay.
I don't think it's so simple. Like, it's a complex question because you can go so many different routes.
It is.
And unlike last year, you could go just a clear route and just be like fine for the future. But this year, we don't have Matt Ryan. We're trying to still be pseudo competitive with a roster that's not really built to be competitive. So you have to like strategize on what you need first. Like my absolute gut is saying draft Drake London for the future, but my brain is also saying Marcus Mariota won't survive unless you get a tackle. But then I'm also looking at the fact that we just got Jermaine Ifedi, who I think is better than Caleb McGarry, and so I'm like torn in like a rock and a hard place. So
Right.
I think, yeah,
I just think Marcus Mariota, man. When we first signed him, I was all put about it, but I just think, you know what I'm saying. The more I think about it, Mariota might, you know what I mean, for the next 2 years, he might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I see that in a lot of other people. But before I continue on that, welcome Jarvis. Welcome back. It's your last time, so got to see you again. Is that you showing off? Oh, moonshine.
That's what's up, man.
Hang on.
I don't start him, y'all. He going to get that real.
That's what's up.
Got my old Smokey here.
Are y'all serious?
This that Blackberry.
Yeah.
This that Blackberry.
All right. Not having it on for right now, but we'll see how it goes. But anyways, with Marcus Mariota, it's just like with every other vet signing that we've had so far. A low risk, high reward. You know? And if we're able to give a chance to literally everyone else who signed so far, why are we making the exception with the quarterback? Like we're okay with accepting, you know, basically half of the Bears roster. We're okay with accepting, you know, like a couple extra Titans. We're okay with accepting some of these other guys that, you know, kind of snuck around the league as journeymen. They're able to come over here, try to cut themselves a home, try to either resurrect their career or make a name for themselves right now and get that head their contract moving forward.
Hey, no. Could I say one thing, man? The thing about you know, Marcus Mariota, man, I don't think that, you know what I'm saying, he's a bridge quarterback. I think, you know what I'm saying, if he don't get injured, he could do beautiful things for us, man. Just being honest. If he doesn't get injured, because he knows the offense.
Yeah.
I initially thought that too, but my opinion changed after looking at the Raiders game. Not because he did bad. He actually he did decent. But I noticed that, like, he doesn't fix. He's not a game changer, you know. Like, I think that while he's good, he's more of a quarterback that I think he is a bridge quarterback. I think that you need pieces to surround him with to optimize what you're getting out of him, and that, to me, that's a bridge quarterback. I think Teddy Bridgewater is like the same thing. I think Sam Darnold is like a worse version of the same thing. I don't like, as much as I love all the tools that he has, I see him throwing the ball and needing talent in order to maximize that. I've seen him even throw a few passes that were a little bit meh.
My bad, bro. So would you draft Willis in the first round, man?
Actually, if I were gonna draft a quarterback, and this is crazy because I've never really been high up. The person who I would draft in the first round if I was gonna draft a quarterback would actually be Desmond Ridder, and I say this because in the first round. And I say
that's
this
knowing you might be able to get him at 43.
Nah, man. I'm not doing that.
I don't know.
If I were going to take a quarterback, and it was like that down to the wire, and he was starting to gain traction, because I do think that he's kind of underrated. I think I would consider taking him in the first round. But the reason I say this is because not at 8, not at 8. I say in the first round.
Exactly.
But in the first round.
I'll take him in the second round, man. I'll take him in the second round. I'll take it in the second round.
I don't know about first, Alex. Like
when I was
I'm not taking him in the first round.
First round caliber quarterbacks in this class overall. I think the only reason Pickett and Willis and Corral are getting hyped up to go in the first round is because every year there's a quarterback class, or nearly, there's a couple quarterback classes that there's no reason a quarterback should go in the first round, but there's going to be one just because. And right now, Desmond Ritter, he's like if every quarterback was going, if every quarterback that you like was going, and you heard that somebody in the beginning of the second round like Ritter, and you're like, man, I just got to take him now. Okay, I see that, but he's out he's going to be available at 43, but you still take him, and you trade your second and one of your thirds.
He might not be though, bro, because
I wouldn't trade up.
He might not be available in the second round because the Steelers, man. Hey, the Steelers need a quarterback, and I know they got Trubisky, man, but I don't really think they set on him like that. They could take Ritter, but the thing I will say, man, one thing I will say, I'm not trying to overtalk the panel, but one thing I will say, man, is that C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, man, is a better version of Desmond Ritter to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if we don't take a quarterback this year, man, we could do it next year.
I think if I may speak, Noah, how y'all doing again today?
What's up, bro?
Nothing much. So we are all fans of AFN. We hear Matt Mike speak, and one of the things Matt Mike, I kind of agree with what Matt Mike was saying was why we're so infatuated with taking a quarterback when the last few quarterbacks that come out in the last 3 years or so have not been what you think they've been. Okay.
Right.
Also, Matt Mike was talking about the one thing is why we're so hell bent on if we're gonna take a quarterback next year, like we're gonna lose or something. I don't get down like that. The whole we're gonna lose anyway. We're not gonna be competitive anyway. So because if we think like that already, why even watch the games that's coming up?
But bro, I think we're gonna be competitive though. I this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I think we're gonna be competitive. They sleeping on us. Us, man. I think we're gonna be competitive this year.
But half the fan base already is talking about. Listen, I know y'all. We watch other shows, not just AFN, but we watch. If you're a Falcon content creator, for me, I just watch very few of them because some of them just out there a little bit. But I watch a few of them, man, and they already got this notion of, well, we're not gonna be competitive anyway, so we're gonna be in.
I don't think so. Look at the signings, man. Look at the signings, bro. I didn't mean to cut y'all, man. Look at the signings. Bro, I think we gonna goddamn creep on a lot of people, man.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I got faith that.
Right, I know you know.
I'm just talking about those guys who are already saying we're gonna be probably get with a top 10 pick next year. If we're competitive this year and we win more games than people are thinking,
I think we will.
There is no chance to take a quarterback. But here's the thing that people are not watching, and I peeped game before. I don't know if Noah was talking about it earlier or not, but I peeped game with the Saints. The Saints just traded with the Eagles for 2 first-round draft picks, right? So what they're trying
to get Willis. They're trying to get Willis.
They're trying to jump ahead.
They're trying to get Willis, man.
They're trying to jump ahead of the Falcons.
They're trying to get Willis.
They got to jump ahead of the Steelers too.
Yes, but I think that's how I think the Falcons in their front office is wanting that. Here's the reason why: because if you get Willis, right, that just means a top 10 player that's better has just jumped down, and that's what they're trying to do. The whole visit with Willis was to try to boost his exposure, boost up his exposure.
But the thing about Willis is he's not ready. He ain't ready yet,
But the
man.
Falcons know that though. But But
I know they know. He ain't ready.
In order for the Falcons to get the players that they really want, they have to, act like they're going to get a quarterback. Because right now, a lot of people's like, oh, the Falcons at 8. Oh shit, if they're at 8, what's the name could be right there. I gotta get what I need to get. I gotta get these draft capitals and move up to get past them. Cool.
Right.
Because once you do that, a top 10 player that wasn't going to be there at 8 is going to fall right there in the Falcons' lap. It's these mind games. The Falcons did it with Deshaun Watson.
Hey, man, I'm going to say this, man. If the Saints jump everybody, man, they get Willis, man, they're going to end up with your boy, what his name is, man?
They're going to end up with Baker Mayfield.
Not Baker Mayfield. I can't remember the quarterback name, but bruh,
I'm gonna go a throwback and say they're gonna get another version of Eric Brooks.
Ooh,
not Eric Brooks. I can't remember his name.
Now, Noah, you ain't shit for that one. I'm gonna tell you that now.
But look, I promise you, with Willis, man, he can be a great quarterback in my opinion.
Guys, I just wanted to say this. So, if y'all didn't hear that outside, it is storming like crazy outside right now.
Yeah,
so
it's
if I just
raining like a
disconnect for some
motherfucker.
odd reason, you know why.
No problem.
Hey, but I just want to say this about Willis, man. He has to go to the right situation, man, in order to develop.
But who's the quarterback
if
coach
he
for the
goes
Saints?
to the wrong situation, man, he's gonna be a bust, man.
Who's the quarterback coach for the Saints? Sean Payton's gone. Who's the quarterback coach for the Saints?
I don't know
who
who
I
he
think
is,
would
but
be a great fit. Honestly, if the Giants went ahead and got Desmond Ridder in the second, I think that's an amazing pick, and I think that's something that they're probably looking at. They're looking at probably getting offensive line, and they might even go quarterback. Like, not to say that they don't believe in Danny Dimes, but I think his contract is up after this year. I think they might have a 5th-year option.
I don't think
they don't believe. I don't think they believe in him like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not like that. Not to give him a big contract. So, like, especially with Brian Dable in there, and he's a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I say this because Brian Dable, and I know this for sure, Brian Dable was behind the development of Josh Allen, both mentally and the development of his footwork, which helped his accuracy. Because that was more so the significant change from him like sucking one season and then him almost being an MVP the next season. Because it was more so just him kind of taking a little bit of a skip in order to get his footwork, so he matches his feet with his eyes, I believe, and kind of you'll get the gist more so in game, but you get it. With Desmond Ridder, his problem, which is why initially I didn't really like him, is because of his accuracy. His accuracy is so inconsistent, which is why I didn't pay attention to him. But I recently watched film on him, and it's more so footwork. It's footwork. Like, if you ask me, everything else that he does, he gets the ball out quick. He works the quick game the best, and I do mean the best. And that includes Carson Strong, who I'm really high on. The best out of all the quarterbacks in this draft class. He might have the best anticipation out of everyone in this draft class.
Mm-hmm.
He has bigger. He might be matching Carson Strong in arm strength, or at least they're quite compatible. And Desmond Ridder has far more mobility. As far as I'm concerned,
let me say this, Alex. Let me say this, Alex, man. I agree with you. I think Ridder, you know what I'm saying? I think Ridder can do great things for us, man. But he has to be coached. Yeah,
I'm gonna say this right here, and I'm gonna let Noah, because Noah trying to move on to the next topic. So, at one of these quarterbacks have their strengths and weaknesses. We all know that. We've all seen them on display. We've all seen games with these quarterbacks. That including Zappy, that including Strong, whomever that played this year who was eligible for the draft. They got their
they got to be coached.
This quarterback class is not as talented as recent quarterback class has been, but you take your chances. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna pass it back over to Noah. So my thing is, I don't care what nobody say about Thibodeau. I'm gonna tell you, if he's there in number 8, I'm taking Thibodeau. And that's who I'm going with. I'm gonna stick with a defensive lineman, or if he's not there and your boy Johnson is there, I'm going with it. We need to build those trenches. I'm all about building those trenches. That's all I gotta say, Noah. I'll pass it back over to you.
The one last point though, regarding Malik, there's been some buzz about him going to 2 for Detroit. Now it's another situation where he can sit behind Jared Goff. They know he can be the future moving forward. And, you know, they can kind of mold that offense around to his talents because it's still very malleable of an offensive system right now. Right? They don't really have a whole lot set in stone other than like the virtues and the principles that Dan Campbell wants to set upon the rest of the team. So other than that, like, if you want to make sure that the Lions don't get him, and that's the first team to possibly want a quarterback, you might have to go either trade for them, and now they have a lot of power, or you have to try to trade up to number 1 in order to get Malik Willis at number 1. And that itself is another hot take because, again, that's just more talent. Like you're saying, it's more talent just sliding down the board. And now,
but no, I don't think they're gonna trade up. I think they're gonna trade down if anything, man. Just being honest now.
I really do.
I think they're gonna trade. If you know what I'm saying, like, don't get it confused. No, I'm talking about the Falcons. I ain't talking about the Lions. I'm talking about the Falcons. I think they're gonna, you know what I'm saying. If anything, they would trade down. If they trade down, I would like that.
I would too. You know, and I
would like that.
I do. I respect the way that you made the question. You said, "Hey, who do you think the Falcons take in the first round?" You didn't really keep us locked in at 8, so I like that.
Nah, I feel like, man, it's a possibility that they would trade down too, man.
Of course, I mean, and there's still a possibility they can stay there at 8 too. You know,
they could.
I've always been on the fence as to like who to take there. I've always taken different options.
Man, it's just so crazy, man, because they can pick anybody. It's just so crazy.
Yeah,
but
and Nathan Moore wanted to ask, like, how far would you trade down? For me, it depends on the offer.
Yeah, it depends on the offer. It depends on the offer, man. But if they stay put, man, and Thibodeau on the board, and Kyle Hamilton on the board, man, you got to pick defense, man, for real.
Right. And then, but trading back, depending on how far you go, like whether it's in like the teens or the early 20s, that would be a prime spot to take Jordan Davis.
Right. But the thing about
really would.
It's just like the Saints. Oh man, these Saints, man. These tricky Saints, man.
Hey, if we can't
trying to trade up for a quarterback. Huh?
I said, hey, if we can't get better, let them get worse.
Yeah, let them get worse, man. They gave up a lot of draft picks too, man, in that trade.
Yeah, and then they're going to try to build for the future that on right now that they don't have a complete team. Now they don't have the capital to kind of continually build up the team. And still, by the way, you're going to have more salary cap issues to deal with later down the road because of all the restructures and everything you've done in order to get back to where you are now. So it's like that.
Let me ask you something, man. What you think about Kenny Pickett?
Pickett for us, or just Pickett overall?
Nah, just in general, not for us. I'm just saying in general. What you think about him as a quarterback?
Now, I haven't done an extensive research on or an evaluation on the quarterbacks, so I'm not going to be the best person to ask.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Noah. Do you think we should pick him at 8?
with the other choices, like you said, like if Thibodeau's there, if guys like Karlaftis is there, if a wide receiver is there, like for this question, like it's not just the specific player, it's just the position in general, because the position in general has a lot of baggage applied to that pick. It's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of pressure, and right now we don't need to put a rookie quarterback through that, right? Right now, the quarterback is the icing on the cake. It is not the cake. Okay, we're trying to build the cake. We have the batter right now, and we're starting to get everything set up. A quarterback like this, final touch. Okay, and you're starting to see that with other teams. For the Rams, quarterback was a final touch. For the Bengals, quarterback got close to being a final touch for them. Broncos, quarterback was a final touch for them. Like all these other quarterbacks that are moving around, Colts, final touch for them. Quarterback, boom.
Don't say that, man. That hurt my heart right there. When you said that one.
Okay, well, it better be that than the opposite,
Yeah, I got you. Man.
As far as that, like my mindset, it's not really against any particular quarterback. It's just against the position or the idea of the position in general right now. Because right now it doesn't make sense. We're basically trying to put in the same situation as the Saints are, and we just laughed at them. So it's like, why would we put ourselves there?
I just feel like it's so complicated, man, as far as, who we gonna pick. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's scatterbrained, man, because, like, who are we gonna pick at the number 8 spot? Are we gonna trade back? I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? As far as trade back, I wouldn't be mad at that if we got more picks, because we got to build this defense, man. It's about defense, in my opinion. It's about that defense, man.
I think it's about the offense. Like,
why? Why would you say why?
Because we have no receivers.
We do. They just signed receivers.
One real receiver.
Kadero Hodge, Auden Tate, Demir Bird.
Mm-hmm.
We signed receivers.
And right now,
Mariota just got to do his job. We signed receivers.
Oh.
And Alex, the one thing I will say,
that's not fair on Mariota.
I agree with you on that. But the one thing that I will say is I'm looking at it from a systematic and schematic standpoint. How valuable were the wide receivers in this offense as opposed to a running back or as opposed to a tight end, which we know that
I say it like this,
and Mariota have experience.
Why I say it like this, Noah? If we drafted London Drake, not any of these other receivers, if we drafted London Drake, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I agree.
I wouldn't be mad.
I like Drake London. But I say this because, like, we need work still on the offensive end, because even with a pretty decent run scheme on Arthur Smith's part, we weren't that good in rushing yards. And that's kind of interesting. Which means we still need to pass the ball. We need to work on quick game and being efficient in quick game, which, in order to, like, successfully be a team that can run the ball, you need to run the ball, you need to have play action, and you need to excel in the quick game. In the play action, towards the later part of the year, especially in the Buffalo Bills game, when Kyle Pitts went out, you saw that we had no one to pass to. In play action, it was Russell Gage or nothing. Literally Russell Gage or nothing. And I guess Parker Hesse, kind of slid in, but he's not even a real receiving tight end. He's more of a fullback at that, just playing tight end. And we need weapons. I think that if we were going to address the defense, that we address the interior, which is why the interior of the defensive line is, at least for positional value, is like one of the lowest in value. But I do really like drafting Jordan Davis here with the first round. Not necessarily at 8. You can do it at 8. I won't be mad at it. But in the first round, I could really, really, really see it. But outside of that, offense is a big concern.
But what if we get rid of Grady? What if we get rid of Grady? As far
If we get rid of Grady,
I'm not knocking drafting Jordan Davis, man. But what if we get rid of Grady?
If we get rid of Grady, that just first of all doesn't make any sense, and second of all, we still need to address the fact that we can't stop the run, and it doesn't necessarily change things at that. Like, okay, we trade Grady. Now, not only do we need to get a run-stopping defensive tackle, we also need to beef up our interior pressure, which just makes everything worse. It doesn't make sense to trade Grady unless you're getting a whole bunch of draft capital and maybe even a player to help out, because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
But if we, you know what I'm saying, like draft, you know what I'm saying, Jordan Davis at 8, man, like he only a 2-down lineman, man. Like, come on, man.
I feel it. I feel it. No, I feel it because I was against drafting
on
Jordan
passing
Davis.
route. You know what I'm saying? On passing routes, like that's been our Achilles heel, passing the ball.
So if I can kind of be in between you guys for a second, may or may not support both of your statements about this. Because from the trenches standpoint, from the defensive line standpoint, we struggle with either stopping the run or, rushing the passer, right? We gave up 2,200 yards on the ground, and we got less than 20 sacks in 17 in games to do so. Right? Those are both really bad. That both scream like defensive line is like the need to go that route, right? But also, like I said, from a schematic standpoint, if you want the run offense to work and you want Arthur Smith to rely on that the entire game, well, guess what? You can't be behind. You can't be playing from behind and trying to continue to run the ball to help you win the game, or at least get back into the game. Right? From that standpoint, you got to pass, and that's why our run game as an offense got so wishy-washy, because when we had control of the game, when we just had a grasp of the game, that's when we were able to really provide support for our run game. But when the game was out of hand, there's no point in running the ball, and that's why you really couldn't see it. So controlling the defense helps us grow our run offense. If you want to put it, I
wouldn't be mad at us drafting Jordan Davis, man. It's just like, I want to beef up the line too, but at the same time, man, we need playmakers, man. We need playmakers, man.
But
we need playmakers, man.
I think if we're gonna get playmakers, we don't necessarily need it in the DB room, in my personal opinion. Like, at least not in the first round. Like, I'm not even the biggest.
So you saying Hamilton? You saying Hamilton? You saying we don't need Hamilton in the first round?
I don't think we need Hamilton, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, you crazy, bro. And I honestly disagree with you.
Saying that I want Hamilton in first.
Man, he a playmaker. He all over the field. Do you know what DPs would do with this man all over the field, man?
But he's too raw. Like,
he would be taking over Isaiah Oliver's spot, but we already have that role.
I don't care.
And we're 4 safeties deep on the roster.
Man, he would be a playmaker.
I get that. I completely agree with you.
He would be a playmaker all over the field.
Again,
Jordan
I
Davis,
completely agree with you.
But look, Jordan Davis saying one position. You can put this man all over the field, and he gonna make plays.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you on the steal of Kyle Hamilton.
It's not that simple. Like, and I'm saying this from the perspective because when I initially was doing my draft scouting, because like I'm despite what maybe people may think about me, I am wrong quite a bit. I was high on Kyle Hamilton early this season. I'm
Man,
not
I
as
love
high as
him,
him
man.
on I
I
am
love,
anymore.
bro. I love
Because
Kyle
he
Hamilton, man.
because he's just he doesn't I don't want to say he doesn't
You
know
know
the
what?
position that well, but he isn't as what's the word? He doesn't read the field as well as a true
Okay.
safety as he should. Like he needs
And
to
I
still develop, which is like
okay.
drafting
Let me ask you this.
the
Let,
mhm.
let me ask you this, Alex. Man, if it was up to Dean P, who you think he gonna pick? Jordan Davis or Kyle Hamilton?
Personally,
Kyle
I
Hamilton.
think
Yeah.
he would pick. I actually think that he'd
Come on,
I
man.
think
Come
that
on,
he'd
man.
pick Jordan Davis, and I'm not even lying when I say this.
Come
I'm
on,
really not.
man.
I'm really not. I'm not.
You really got to look
I
at the
have
roster with
reason.
this.
I have reason. I have reason to say this. I have reason to say this. I say this because
What's your reason?
literally midway through the season, is when we got
All right.
practice squad guys, and they started for us.
But could
Like,
I
our
say
run
this?
defense, and he saw it. Yep.
Man, look, man. These dudes were scouting this dude as the best player in the draft before he had that 40 time.
It's not even the 40 time. It's more so the film. It's not even the 40 time.
Film?
It's more so of the
Yeah,
film.
All right, man.
Well,
And
if they didn't bring back Isaiah Oliver,
It's
I think
not
we will be talking
because-
about Kyle Hamilton. If they didn't bring back Isaiah Oliver for
I
1
think
year, they will be talking about Kyle Hamilton.
I think what
Man,
I
come
think
on, man. Let's be
I
honest,
think what's
man.
being confused. I think what's being confused is that I'm not debating whether or not he's a playmaker, because I've
I
seen
like
him make
Jordan
plays.
Davis too, man. Don't
but
get me
more
wrong.
than-
I like Jordan Davis. Don't get me wrong. I like Jordan Davis. He a physical freak. But at the same time, man, who gonna make more plays for you on the field, man?
The reason why I'm saying this is because he makes more plays out of structure. Out, meaning that if I don't know, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't see anything, which is because with Kyle Hamilton, if you draw a route concept correct, he's more than likely not going to read it correctly, and it's going to be open anyway. But let's just say, it all everything's good in the front, right? If Patrick Mahomes scrambles out and tries to make a play, Kyle Hamilton will shut it down in that instance and make a play and make a pick. But in structure, quick game, route concepts to attack him, which best believe in the playoffs, they will attack him. It doesn't make that much sense because we already have Eric Harris, who's a great in the safety and great safety in the structure. He has great instincts in the structure.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Alex. I ain't mean to cut you off. Let me ask you this. Do we have any safeties right now, currently on the roster, that's better than Kyle Hamilton?
Well, that answer can be answered by yourself, bro. That's a no.
Physically speaking,
exactly.
No. Physically.
Exactly.
But our question to you, is there anyone on our roster that's better than Jordan Davis on our D-line?
That's a negative unless you're
It don't matter.
looking at Grady
It don't
Jarrett.
matter.
But Grady Jarrett and Jordan Davis are two different people.
That shit don't matter, bro. I ain't mean to cut. That doesn't matter. Do we have any safeties currently on this roster, man, who's better than Kyle Hamilton?
And that's all I want to know. Physically, we're only talking physically. Physically speaking, when we're talking about gifts,
plays on the field.
Jamel,
that's what we need. A playmaker.
So does Jalen Hawkins.
Bro, we had Deion Jones. Listen, right quick. Just listen to me.
Hold up, y'all. Go ahead, Noah.
Go ahead, Noah.
Again, you say you don't mean to cut Alex off, but you keep cutting him off. Okay?
I ain't mean to, man.
Again, you just cut me off now, too. Okay? I want you to just pay attention.
All right.
I'm sorry I got to be blunt with you on this.
Man, go ahead, man.
Okay. Again, Alex, continue.
I don't hate Kyle Hamilton. I just think that we just drafted Richie Grant, which, by the way, my apologies to Richie Grant, because I didn't want Richie Grant when we first drafted him. I want Javon Holland, but Richie Grant is actually a baller. He can make. He has. When we drafted him, he probably had the best instincts as a safety out of anyone in the draft, and we're still not starting him, which lets me know that if we draft Kyle Hamilton, who has less of a feel of the game in structure, he might not get as much playing time as you think. And with Jordan Davis, I know for sure he's getting PT, and he fixes our defensive line, and he at least affects one part of the game. Not to mention that, what's his name? Devontae Wyatt, who was teammates with Jordan Davis, was being trained by Grady Jarrett, meaning that we pair Grady Jarrett and Jordan Davis. It's possible that pass rush upside might be real. Like I'm just saying, like, Grady Jarrett may say, hey, you're physically gifted, bro. You got speed, you got power. Let's see what's good with you with pass rush, because we already know you can help me. Like, you're helping me. I don't want to take double teams. You can help me, and I can help you. Like that's the type of like relationship that I think could develop if we were to draft Jordan Davis. Not to mention, I don't even like Jordan Davis like that. Like, I'm not a huge advocate for Jordan Davis. I'd much rather us address O-line or edge or wide receiver. I'm just throwing that out there because we can really just go, and I do mean it, anywhere. Like, if we drafted Desmond Ridder at 8, I wouldn't necessarily like hate that either. Even though I don't love it, I wouldn't hate it.
Can I speak now, Noah?
Go ahead.
I just feel like, man, and Alex, man, I appreciate you, you rundown, man. But I feel like, as far as Kyle Hamilton, you could do so many things with him. You can't do a lot of stuff with, oh what, Jordan Davis. You can't. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna have a crack at this, right?
If Kyle Hamilton there, man, at 8, you gonna pick Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton?
Okay, I'm gonna have a crack at this, okay? All right.
I'm just asking. If Kyle Hamilton there at 8, you gonna pick Jordan Davis over him?
Okay.
I would rather not choose. Oh, my bad, Noah.
Okay. So, let's focus on the defensive line for a second. Okay? Who can you confidently say are starters on our defensive line? You have Grady at the moment. Then who else?
Anthony
You
Rush.
got maybe Lorenzo Carter.
Anthony Rush, I know for sure, is his defensive starter.
Rush, we
And
still
a
got
3-4
Rush.
set. That would be Anthony Rush's job right there. Okay. Remember, he came in as a mid-season practice squad pickup. Now I like him. I think he's got really good potential.
How did he play last season? Your opinion.
All right, I'm gonna continue.
All right.
Thing is that with our secondary, I feel confident about our secondary. One thing I don't feel confident about is our defensive line. And how this complements each other is if you take the quarterback that you're facing and you give him like 5 or 6 seconds to throw, but go back to our old tape. That's how much we basically given even the bad quarterbacks. If they've had time to throw the ball, your secondary does not matter because they can go rogue. Right? It doesn't matter about everything else, right? That's when the bad coaches are trying to capitalize on. Now that doesn't happen.
Breaking up, bro.
Okay? When you give them 2.5 seconds, like everyone else in the NFL does, now your quarterback has to throw the ball. You have to make a decision. And
Right.
now, allows we just built up, that we just popped up, to actually make some play. Now,
So I agree with that. All right, go ahead, Noah. My bad.
okay. Now you have people on the outside perimeter to rush the passer. Okay? If you want to blitz, All right, Dean Pease also likes to blitz, even with his safeties, even with his corners. All right, I don't want him to blitz AJ Terrell, but everyone else is there. Okay, and they all have that capability. Even Terrell, I've seen him in Clemson blitz off the edge, even from the numbers. All right, that's possible. But take a look at everyone else you have on the roster. Even our linebackers, not completely set up right now. We have Dion, we have Michael Walker. They're both question marks right now, whether or not they're even going to be starting for our team. One thing I will say is that we have our secondary figured out. Okay, with Kyle leading this defense, you're still going to have the same problem of letting the quarterback have 5 seconds to throw. And when you give any quarterback, take a look at a roster, take a look at the stats. You give any quarterback more than 5 seconds to throw, it does not matter who your secondary is. Okay, and that is Kyle Hamilton's. That's one of his biggest weaknesses. You're not going to have him go in quarters coverage. You're not going to have him go all structure because he's not Troy Polamalu. He's not John Taylor. Okay? Don't make him out of structure.
Can I ask you something, Noah, bro? Can I ask you something, Noah? Respectfully.
After I'm finished, you may.
Go ahead.
But once I add some time, I provide time for my secondary. Okay? Now they don't have to get gassed all over the field. Okay? They have crossing routes, they have go routes, they have, all these other types of routes that they have to worry about that stretches the field. And if they're playing press man coverage or if they're even playing zone coverage, there's going to be a spot where even a bad quarterback can find an open lane for it. Okay? And a lot of our quarterbacks right now that we're going to be facing, they're still mobile. So that's another thing that you have to take into consideration. All right, if you want a quarterback spy using one of our linebackers, that's not a good idea because now you're taking one of our best players in coverage and forcing them to just pay attention to the quarterback. Which now that quarterback spy becomes useless because there's no one to contain the edge and there's no one to get after the quarterback still. So you're just having a dude stand there in the middle of the field for no reason where he can take apart the rest of your defense. We can't afford to let that happen. Based off who our schedule is and based off of how our defense is already currently structured. Having any quarterback, all right, and I mean Derek Stingley, I mean Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, you can include anyone else in that threshold. I understand that the guys that we have are not the best, but they're better than the defensive line. Okay, even if you want to go back to Dean Marlowe and Eric Harris, we've had problems with both of them. Not Dean Marlowe yet, but suffice it to say, they are more of a lock at their positions than anyone else at our defensive line, not outside of Grady. Okay, Lorenzo Carter, he's an outside linebacker. He's trying to take on the new position of what Dante Fowler used to be. Remember Dante Fowler? Okay, like you want another person like that has to worry about getting to the quarterback right then and there. Otherwise, our secondary is going to get gassed up. That's what our 2020 season was like, and that was his best season underneath him. So, moving everything aside, we shored up our secondary. We got DP. I know he's a secondary guy, but one thing that helps the secondary up even more, one thing that unleashes this playbook even more is a pass rush. Okay? I understand that you may have some depth concerns because look how bad we lost Isaiah Oliver. We had to start a bunch of rookies. It looked bad. Okay? At the beginning of the season, we started PJ freaking Green. That was not good. Okay? We had a lot of secondary issues. But by the time that the end of the season was completed, we were like 14th in passing yards allowed. That is absurd.
No, can I say something real quick?
We were one of the 5th worst pass defenses in NFL history.
Right. But look, man. We debating about, who the Falcons should choose at 8, right? Is Jordan Davis a game changer?
Watch his tape on Georgia.
Is he a game changer?
His 47% picking that that's all you need to know.
Man, is he a game changer?
It's not about game changing. It's
it is. We ain't had a game changer in Atlanta, man, since Deion Sanders. Is he a game changer? He's not.
If we're expecting a defensive lineman to be Deion Sanders, then our thinking's backwards.
Okay.
Man, that's why you choose Kyle Hamilton. A game changer. Who? Like I said, man, at the beginning, man, if Kyle Hamilton is on the table, you picking him over Jordan. You gonna pick Jordan Davis over him?
So
If Kyle Hamilton is on the table,
here's
come
what
on,
I'm gonna say.
man.
I'm just gonna say that.
Jamil, do you have any final thoughts? I got a show to end.
Okay.
Any final thoughts?
I'm just asking questions, man. Like,
I understand that, but like I said, I got a show to end. I should have tried to end this thing 20 minutes ago.
End it, nigga. Man, end it then, man. Country ass nigga, man, bro. You can end it.
Any more final thoughts?
I'm
giving you the chance to speak right now, Tramel.
Speak on what? We was debating about who the Falcons should choose at 8. And it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? I got my own take, bro. Like I ain't trying to disrespect you in any kind of way. We can agree to disagree.
Look, again, I've been agreeing with you on every point you said about Kyle Hamilton.
No, I got you. So I don't think, I think we're kind of just I don't think we mean any harm. Like we're not trying to like bash you. I'm not trying to bash you. I'm sorry if you're taking offense. Okay, cool. That's cool. We're like we don't mean any offense. I don't mean any offense. Here's what I'm saying. Like I feel you when it comes to Kyle Hamilton. Like Vlad in the chat. Vlad just came and said something interesting in the chat, saying that you can take Kyle Hamilton at 8 and just address the trenches later, which I feel that too. I could rationalize that too and play him at linebacker. I also think that just taking Jordan Davis at 8 also isn't a bad idea either. Because we just have more pressing needs at that spot, and maybe we can build up. Just the way the draft goes after that might be a little bit more suitable for the offense instead of more suitable for the defense.
Hey, Alex, I ain't trying to cut you off, but I would have no issue with drafting Jordan Davis, man. I would have no issue with that. Yeah, it's just like if you got Kyle Hamilton on the table, man, he can make more plays.
One thing that we've taught, basically, one lesson that we basically had to teach ourselves over and over again: you cannot fall in love with any single prospect. You cannot. All right, the disappointment that's going to cost them that is real. We've said this back in January on my show. Okay, I made it a point. Hey, don't fall in love with any single person. I've been on the fence regarding every single prospect. Okay, and it's one thing for us to have to deal with every single prospect that comes in from the draft process, whether it be through requests or who else we find on our own scouting and our own film tape, whatever the case may be, right? But the thing is that you have to hold back because it's not our job. It's not our power. It's not our control. We may have all these differing opinions, but all that's going to matter come April 29th is whatever Terry Fontenot or Arthur Smith wants to say. None of us on the panel can speak for them. Okay, and that's the one thing that I will give you, right? Like I said, we've had another one. We've had a little bit too many thoughts. Alex, do you have any thoughts?
I not a whole ton. I mean, first of all, I'd just like to say I see both sides. I was very blinded at the start when I did draft. When I was doing my scouting, I believed that Jordan Davis just wasn't the pick and Kyle Hamilton was straight up the pick. And as you saw earlier, I thought that Jordan Davis was slightly better than taking Kyle Hamilton at that pick. But honestly, I see both sides. I think one is still slightly better than the other, but I can rationalize either way. And I feel either point. And quite honestly, Jordan Davis isn't even the person I'd rather us pick at number 8. I just thought I would throw that out there. So, like, honestly, I feel both points, but that's not even the guy that I want to choose at 8. Just saying.
Again, if I had to recreate everything, if I build the defense up from scratch, I absolutely agree. Take Kyle Hamilton today. All right, that's what the Texans are in right now. Their pick is literally every need. We're not like that. We have a little bit more structure and nuance when it comes to our defensive schemes. So, let him have to be the case. It's all right. We're just gonna let that be it. Okay. This originally tried to be about hot takes, about the entire draft process, and then we got really sidetracked, and now we got to end the show. All right. I've been trying to keep this at a shorter length so that more people can either listen back to it and not get too intimidated by like an hour, like 2.5 hour stream. Because that's really hard time to do that. I understand that, but right now, that was our intention of our discussion to begin. So, if that was the case, we'll let that be it. All right, my final thought was I was supposed to do some more hot takes, but maybe we can get a continuation of that. Maybe either a different day or whatever the case may be. Really just be finished. Right? So I apologize for everyone out there. But yeah, the show had to have a closing point at some point, and this had to be it. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna try to listen back and get a little bit more attention on the comments. So trying to pay attention to what everyone else is saying, but I'm also kind of focused on the comments. So I'm gonna get back to that one. So I've tried to come together and yeah, so I got the discussion there. One last thing, this something here. I'm gonna hold you to that. All right, we're gonna make that maybe next week if you're able to. I can see that you're already up, so can't do that. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Tune in. See you guys next Wednesday, maybe even sooner. Okay.